And I was just like, how many people just let this happen? Like, this is just nasty. Like, someone had to think about the fact that every time you touch that thing, you were like getting some weird bacteria, Like, I'm just like that. Like, I can't be that guy. I cannot be the guy who, like, just lets things go and think about it, but I don't do anything about it. Like, I'm always going to act. I act on everything. It's like and it might take a minute for me to get there, but I'm going to act. I'm going to be like, I can't deal with this. And I had to change it out because it was just nasty. And I cleaned it. Like, every other time I got into the shower, I would spray it all down, wipe it down. Like, I would never do that at the gym, at the gym shower. Like, I know that's because usually the gyms that I'm in, they're very clean, like, but people pee in the shower, people jack off, especially at the one in Chicago. When I belonged to LA Fitness, there was always sex in the shower. So, there was just cum everywhere. And, I would just crack up, not really crack up, but I'd be kind of disgusted by people who would go in there without flip-flops. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to let my feet touch that tile. There's no way. I mean, just no way. And it always makes me question, how people were raised. There's tons of men who go in there in the shower and don't put on, shower shoes or flip-flops. It's like, I wear expensive ass flip-flops. Mine are Gucci. No lie. $320. Yes, ma'am. And I know that's pretentious, but it's just real. That's what they are. And, I would never go into a public shower without flip-flops. Never. Because of the fact there's cum and there's pee and there's spit, especially when the old geezers go in there and hock up that nasty green and spit it out. And you're just like, and just think about it. Like, honestly, like, not even all that, but everyone cleans their ass in the shower. Everyone. Like, well, not everyone. I'm sure there's some disgusting people who don't. But where do you think that goes? That goes right on the ground. And you're stepping right in it. You're stepping in someone else's washed ass juice. No. You cannot go into the shower, fellas, without flip-flops. That is wrong. It is disgusting. And it's like, while, people can have a daring side sexually, but we're not talking about someone or a partner or whatever. We're talking about a perfect stranger's ass juice all on the floor, on the tile of a shower. Like, you can't walk around with, this is not a tutorial for the gym. However, it is advice from one friend to the next. It's like, you can't do it. You just should stop. It's like, no. Just think about it. That is not, every kind of bodily fluid possible is on the floor of a gym shower. It's all of them. Snot, piss, shit, what else is there? Whatever else. It's all on it's all going down the drain. It's all around. And don't let water start to gather and you're sloshing in it, because that makes it worse. I mean, and it's not to say some of it doesn't get on your feet even with flip-flops, but at least you're safer. You're just at least a half an inch above the water. So you're pretty safe. Oh, God, I can't even think about it. You can't. So, moving on to worldly topic, global topics, and this is no big deal, but I was listening to the radio the other day and found out that there's this new casting for The Wiz Live. I don't know about you. I'm sure I don't know what my listener is, because you guys are bastards. You never tell me who's listening, and I don't really know. But I grew up watching The Wiz, and I'll occasionally watch it online or put a DVD in, because it's really one of my favorite films. Absolutely. And I know all the backstory, how Diana Ross was cast for it over Stephanie Mills, who had played Dorothy for ever. And basically because she was having sex with Berry Gordy, she got the role of Dorothy over Stephanie Mills. And see, Diana Ross's life is sordid. Everything about Diana Ross it's just pretty foul. She's really not a good person. Like, no. Let me take that back. She probably could be a good person now because her life as a Supreme is over. Now she's just Diana Ross, and she's a mother and the whole nine. So she's had time to change and become someone different. But back when she was growing up and in her career, she was not a good individual. There was nothing good about her. You know, there's tons and tons and tons of stories about, you know, whose back she climbed to get to where she was and who she had sex with. But it was more or less Berry Gordy who made her and brought her to the surface, you know, and brought her to the person, you know, the lead singer of the Supremes. And so she basically took a role from a woman who was basically, who was in essence, who brought the life, the character of Dorothy from Broadway. Like, everybody knew Stephanie Mills was Dorothy. Like, it was just a non-issue. And so she basically took the role basically because Berry Gordy was producing and whatever. And I don't really think Stephanie Mills ever really got over that, you know, because now the film is a classic. And it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or indifferent, you know, it's a classic film. And she got the title role, Diana Ross, over the person who originated the role. So they're redoing it, and this is what I hate about Hollywood. Hollywood will pick hot stars in spite of how well they fit into the roles. And if you know anything about The Wiz itself, there are definitely some big shoes to fill in that role as, you know, like the main characters. Like, for instance, they finally gave Stephanie Mills her due, but she's now Auntie M, so she doesn't really get to get Dorothy because she was too old, obviously, to play Dorothy. But she gets to play Auntie M. And I think, okay, good. At least they're giving her her due. They're recognizing that she should have been in the original film version, that is. Now, where it goes really, really wrong. This is where it's about to go real wrong. The person they cast as Eveline, which is the Wicked Witch, who has a major role in the film. Now, it was originally played by Mabel King, who was in the show What's Happening, and a lot of you are probably like, I have no idea who this is or whatever, and that's fine. This segment is not for you. But they cast... Now, Mabel King was a really large woman. I'm thinking like 350 pounds, and with a great voice. An amazing, amazing, amazing voice. Like, when I say amazing, I'm talking like Jennifer Holliday, amazing voice. Now, the person they put in this role to reprise this role is Mary J. Blige. Now, I'm sorry. I love Mary J. Blige, but she does not have an amazing voice, and she's not 350 pounds, and she's not going to be convincing as an evil witch. Just not even funny. Now, who they put as the Wiz. Now, the Wiz, everybody knows the Wiz is a male character. Now, who they've put in the role as the Wiz is Queen Latifah. Now, Queen Latifah should be Eveline because she's a heavy woman and she has a pretty damn good singing voice. But she's the Wiz. How does she translate to... How is that even... Why would you even cast that? That's almost as bad as you casting Taye Diggs as Hedwig. But, again, we talked about that, and it's bad, and I saw previews, clips, and it's bad. But anyway, and Amber Riley is in it, and I don't know why, but she's in it, and that Uzo chick from Orange is the New Black, and she's the new Glinda. And in the film version, there is no Glinda. It's a Miss Wan, and they're just messing up this whole entire film. They really are. And it just makes me mad when Hollywood tries to do something. They always do it so wrong. They do it like when they did the whole Black Annie. It's like, okay, I get how you're trying to be politically correct and all that and trying to be, very diverse in your choices, but we all know Annie wasn't black. Like, she didn't have to be black. Like, she could have stayed white. It's fine. Like, nobody's nobody's boycotting the fact that Annie was white. So I just don't understand why Hollywood always likes to take something that's a classic and reinvent the wheel. Like, leave it alone. It's fine. Like, it was fine the way it was. If you're going to remake it, don't remake the characters. Just change how you film it. Like, put more into the production. Put more into... Because now we have computer graphics, so we can... The sky's the limit with how it can look. You know, the cinematography and all of that can be amazing. But it doesn't have to be so over the top where you change the characters to these unbelievable people. Like, I don't get how Queen Latifah is going to be the Wiz. Like, we all know she's lesbian, but come on, we haven't accepted the fact that she's that butch, where she's going to be a man. She's not like Marsha Warfield or anything. She's Queen Latifah. We still look at her as a female. Like, what I'm so confused by it, and I'm so sick of Hollywood. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of how they try to, you know, brainwash us into believing that everything is just so okay over there, and they're like, well, we're gonna do this, and people will fall into it. They'll believe it. Well, the thing is, when they did the Aaliyah story, they cast Zendaya, and then Zendaya was like, nah, I'm good. You know, she saw all the backlash from it, and she realized that would be a career suicide for her. And then that girl who did accept it, we have no idea who she is. She will never probably act again. You know, because when you try to force people to you know, follow your agenda or believe what you're putting out there, you know, we're not all stupid. Some of us really do have good common sense, and we're like, nah, we're not into that. That sucks. Goodbye. You know, and with this is one of those things where you go, why are you doing this? It just leave well enough alone. It's fine. You know, the original cast or the original characters were fine, and they didn't have to be, you know, counter gender specific. I mean, like, we don't need that. We don't need a man playing a woman's role or a woman playing a man's role. We just don't need it. It needs to stick to what it is, because it's not confusing, and it's fine. It's no one's pissed, you know? But I'm like, I'm so sick of Hollywood. Hollywood just needs to stop with their films. They really need to just, like, stick to the originals or, like, leave it alone. I don't have time. I really, really don't have time for that. But anyway, moving on to a whole different topic. So, you know, I met with a model today to talk about being, you know, featured in on the gallery. And I kid you not, it was like, I have to understand. I'm really trying to understand with young people these days, like, why starting on the bottom is such a big deal. It feels like people are always trying to make the most. They don't want to earn anything. They don't want earning potential. They don't want to start anywhere but at the very top. And the problem I have with that is because when you start at the top, there's no place to go. There's no place else to go but down. It's not even lateral. If you start at the very top, you either sustain it by staying at the top or you go down. Does that make sense? Now, you don't have to buy into it, but it is very true. If you start off at the top, there is no place for you to go but down. And so I'm always talking to these people, and I give them very honest advice. So in this case, I tell them, like, listen, I may not be the resource for you. You know, I'm all about branding. I work with models that I can brand and that I can help work with. Like, outside of me, I will set up a brand for that person. You know, like, for instance, Blake Runner. Like, you know, that's a dude I met on Craigslist. And his real name isn't obviously not Blake, and his last name is obviously not Runner. But he's a straight guy that I met, that I took photos of, and he's very handsome guy, very marketable. And so now we created a character for him, a persona, an AKA. And now, you know, he's so open, he's so honest, and he's so willing to learn and start from the bottom. Like he's like, so we created a site for